So the UFC 293 press conference just ended, and oh my God, did Israel Adesanya just get exposed for the weird creep that he is? Sean Strickland aired out all the dirty laundry, all the dog business that Adesanya partakes in, and put it all basically in the first 5 minutes of the press conference. He called him a Chinaman. He called him about the dog situation. He was basically going all in on Adesanya. And I think that he thoroughly embarrassed Adesanya and completely shut him up. And before I even dive into the whole press conference, I saw on the UFC's homepage or their Instagram, people were calling this underwhelming, a boring press conference, a cringe press conference. This was one of the most entertaining, if not the best press conference in recent history. And people are calling this boring, underwhelming, cringe. Do you guys even watch UFC press conferences? Granted, we had a good one last month with O'Malley and Aljo. But before that, man, it was just pretty much nothing. It was boring, the same old, same old. I made a whole video about it. It's basically fighters every time they get on the podium saying,
"Can't wait until Saturday night, man. I'm going to beat this guy up on Saturday night. Can't wait till Saturday night."
That was literally the press conference that we had for, I think, months. It was nothing of any substance. It was always just boring and lame. So finally, we have some guys with some personality, and Aljo and O'Malley, and now Strickland and Adesanya getting on the stage and actually talking some trash. If you genuinely sat down and watched this press conference, you had to be entertained at some point. There's no way. But to dive into this, it was pretty much Sean Strickland going absolutely in on Adesanya, and he could not take it. It was shutting him right up. He had his one cringy line. It was like, "If you argue with a fool, those who are watching can't tell who's who." And his little arm shake that he does. It's cringe, bro. Like, I mean, it was a good line, I guess. I don't know. But then after that, Strickland just went all in with the dog situation, the puppy stuff. It was pretty bad. And he exposed Adesanya for who he really is. And even Manel Kape was getting into it. Manel Kape was arguing with Kai France, who was sitting out in the crowd. And he was basically calling him a loser or whatever he was calling him, saying he was scared of him. And that incited Adesanya to get up on him. And Manel Kape was capping on Adesanya. The man, Manel Kape, was getting in the face of Adesanya right next to him. Adesanya at one point called him a cracker, which makes no sense to me. Manel Kape's the same skin color as you, if not even as dark as you. So that holds no weight over Manel Kape. I mean, that tells me a lot about Adesanya and his personality for him to call Manel Kape a cracker. Basically, that tells me that he is pretty much saying that every day. It's part of his normal lingo. Or he's trying to make it not seem as bad with the whole Dricka situation. So it's one of the two, maybe even both. But it's pretty much just stupid Adesanya lingo. And he was thoroughly, I think, pretty much just really on edge this entire press conference. He was not having fun. He was getting pretty much roasted by Strickland. Manel Kape, who's the same skin color as him, was not on his side either. He called out his addiction to cartoons in the weird way, if you know what I mean. I mean, pretty much Adesanya was getting the whole short end of the stick this entire press conference, but it doesn't end there. It was still pretty interesting after that. But eventually, Adesanya did have a comeback against Sean Strickland, saying that he sold his soul for Monster, that his Monster sponsorship was him, I guess, being a loser or whatever he was using to say against Sean Strickland. And that, to me, is probably one of the dumbest comebacks. I'm pretty sure his boy Usman is sponsored by Monster. Half the UFC roster, or maybe even 70% of the UFC roster, is sponsored by Monster. So, I mean, okay, bro, great one, Adesanya. You got Strickland there, man. He's sponsored by Monster. Okay, you're sponsored by Prime. Like, that's any better? Like, I don't understand. At that point, he was grasping for straws or whatever he could grab at against Strickland. Strickland did look kind of stupid. I'm not going to lie. You can't get off the vibe of a typical American. You know what I mean? Like a typical, stereotypical American who's just screaming, yelling, and you know what I mean? Just kind of screaming and saying whatever and just being a really political person. But I enjoyed it. It was still fun, you know? It was still some personality from Strickland. He was going in, and even with the whole Monster situation, the whole Monster sponsorship, he even owned it.
"I like guys who flip dirt bikes and monster trucks." And
yeah, I mean, he was owning it. He was having a great time up there. He was being interesting. He was being fun to watch. And Adesanya could not hold a candle I mean, he thoroughly got exposed for the kind of the weirdo that he is. And people are kind of coping about it. I'm not going to lie here. People are not too happy with the fact that Adesanya was getting exposed for a doggy weirdo. And I'm surprised that the UFC didn't say something priorhand to Sean Strickland about, hey, let's not bring up the whole dog thing with Adesanya. That would be bad for business. I mean, he was cussing, he was saying the F word every other word at that point. I mean, Strickland was just going in. You cannot stop Strickland. You can't stop him. You can't stop him, man. He's going to say what he has to say. He's going to get it out no matter what. So I wouldn't be surprised if the UFC releases him if he loses to Adesanya. I would not be surprised at all if they were like, this guy is not good for business. Let's get him out of here. It wouldn't surprise me at all. But also we had a thing with Tyson Pedro and Anton Turkali. He's called the Pleasure Man. And so he was like, I don't want to taste the pleasure, man. It was a whole weird situation, but it was still funny, interesting. Volkov the entire time had no idea what was going on. He had no idea what anybody was saying. He was just kind of in the background, just like, I don't know what they're saying. I don't understand. You know, he was pretty much back there just vibing with the whole crowd. I'm pretty sure he bought a Nintendo Switch to the press conference. I'm pretty sure he brought one. I don't know if he did or not, but apparently there's been some word out that he was playing with a Nintendo Switch underneath the desk. So I don't know what was happening there, but apparently he was bringing a Nintendo Switch. I don't blame him for that, I guess. If you don't speak English and nobody's really asking you any questions, I guess you might as well just, spend your time playing Pokemon or some shit like that. I don't know what he was doing. Maybe it was Smash Bros or something like that. I don't know. But mainly the whole press conference was Adesanya and Strickland just going back and forth. Not really back and forth. Mainly Strickland just going in on Adesanya. And he would have his one cringy line about the whole monster or whatever, which wasn't really, it was good, I guess. He kind of got him there with it, but it wasn't really anything that was too, a guy getting sponsored versus a guy, doing some ality to his dog is a totally different, I think, one is way more weighted than the other one, in my opinion. I don't think that's a great comeback when you're being accused, actually not accused, when you're being exposed for being a weird dog person, you know what I mean? And the whole time this is happening, Tuivasa in the middle between Manel Cap and Adesanya, just like, whoa, guys, I'm in the middle here. Like, he was pretty much in the middle of that, just trying to calm things down. It was overall a great press conference, and I'm so happy that Sean Strickland went out there and made it fun and actually brought some light to the whole Adesanya situation. It makes a lot of sense. I'm glad it happened, and poor Adesanya. Again, I still think he'll beat Sean Strickland Saturday. I still think he'll win. I don't think Strickland has the vicinities to beat or the skill set to beat a guy like Adesanya. And it'll be sad because if Adesanya wins by KO or convincing fashion, it's going to pretty much delete all of this. It's going to pretty much, I wouldn't say delete, but it's going to lower this, man. We're going to see a lot of people come out saying like, oh yeah, Adesanya showed him. He showed him what happens when you talk trash at the press conference type deal. You know what I mean? It's not going to be as sticky as it is now. But if Strickland wins, oh my God, we have a megastar. We generally do. This guy is going crazy. The Australia fans were turning on Adesanya. If you watch that press conference from start to finish, you can tell that at the start of it, Australia was for Adesanya. They were fans of him. They wanted him to win. They were cheering for him. And then at the end, it was totally flipped to Sean Strickland, and they were going insane for him, man. They were waiting for this dog situation to come out, for Sean Strickland to expose this, man. They were waiting for it the entire time, and they were going absolutely insane for Strickland. It makes sense. Adesanya is from New Zealand, so it doesn't make much sense for them to be too picky about who they choose. I know New Zealand is close to Australia, but then again, he's not from their country. So they're going to root for the guy who is more entertaining, who's more funny, who's better to watch, who makes them laugh, who gives them an actual emotion to listen to. They're going to want to watch Sean Strickland. They're going to cheer for him because he's being more relatable to them than Adesanya is. Strickland is from, halfway across the world or all the way across the globe. But at the end of the day, man, these are two fighters in the octagon who are both not from their country. They're going to choose the more interesting one, and the more interesting one is Sean Strickland. So it's funny, he's getting turned on. That press conference was not boring. It was not lame. It was not underwhelming. Please don't call that underwhelming. There's no way, if you've watched recent UFC press conferences, there is no way you can claim that that was a boring press conference. I'm sorry. You just simply can't. That is so weird to me, but it is what it is. Strickland will still probably lose to Adesanya this Saturday, but I don't care. If he wins, he'll be insane. If he KOs him, oh my God, it will be insane. But Adesanya gets exposed for the doggy weirdo that he is. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching this video up to this point. I surely do appreciate it. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, like button, and that bell icon for notifications. I'm out of here, guys. Peace.